All right, let's talk about something we use every single day, our computers. For most of us, they're kind of like these magic boxes, right? You type, you click, and poof, stuff just happens on the screen.
But have you ever stopped to think about what's actually going on inside that case? What are all those little parts doing that make everything from gaming to sending an email even possible?
Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain. We are going to build a computer together, virtually, from the ground up. By the end of this, that magic box won't seem so mysterious anymore.
Okay, so where do we even start? Every great build needs a solid foundation. For a computer, that foundation is the motherboard. You can think of it as the central nervous system, or maybe like the roadmap for a city. It's what connects absolutely everything.
So its whole job is to be that central hub. It's basically one giant circuit board with slots and pathways for all the key players, the brain, the memory, you name it. But the most important part, it lets them all communicate. Without a motherboard, you'd literally just have a pile of expensive electronics that can't do a thing.
All right, our foundation is set. Now it's time to give this machine a little bit of, well, intelligence. Let's install the brains of the operation and its memory. And the very first thing we're going to snap into our motherboard is the CPU, the central processing unit. And make no mistake, this little chip is the brain. It's the powerhouse where almost all the heavy lifting, all the calculations take place. When you talk about how fast a computer is, you're usually talking about the CPU.
Now, a brain that's working that hard, it gets hot, like really hot. And heat is the #1 enemy of electronics. To keep it from, melting, we have to cool it down. That's why we install a heatsink and fan right on top of the CPU. The heatsink pulls the heat away, and the fan blows it out. It's a simple idea, but it's absolutely crucial for keeping the whole system from frying.
Okay, brains in and cooled. Next, we need some short-term memory. We're talking about RAM, or random access memory. I love this analogy. Think of RAM as your desk or workbench. When you're working on something, you take out just the tools and papers you need and spread them out for easy access, right? That's exactly what RAM does for your computer. It holds all the info for the apps you have open right now so the CPU can get to it super fast. Now, it's super easy to get RAM mixed up with another thing called ROM. Here's the simple difference. RAM is what's called volatile. When you shut down your computer, your whole workbench gets cleared off. It's temporary. ROM, on the other hand, is non-volatile. It holds the super basic, permanent instructions your computer needs just to wake up in the morning. That info stays there even with the power off. So, let's recap. We've got a brain, and we've got a workbench. Now we need a place to store everything long-term, like a library. And we need a heart to pump power through its veins. And hey, maybe some extra skills too. It's time to talk storage, power, and expansion.
So let's start with that library. That's your hard drive. This is the long-term storage. This is where everything lives permanently. Your operating system, your games, your photos, your music, all of it. When you save a file, this is where it goes.
And of course, none of this amazing tech does anything at all without power. Enter the power supply unit. This is truly the heart of the computer. It takes the raw electricity from your wall outlet and carefully converts it into the precise, stable power that all these sensitive components need to run without going poof.
Putting it in is actually one of the easier steps. You just slot it into the computer case, line up the holes, and screw it in. Simple as that. But yeah, without this step, our entire project is just a very, very expensive and complicated paperweight. Okay, the basics are covered. Our computer can think and remember. But what if we want to give it superpowers? What if you're a gamer and need amazing graphics? Or you want to connect to a high-speed network? Well, that's where adapter cards come into play. These are what give your computers special abilities.
You've probably heard of some of these. A video card or graphics card is what lets you see everything on your monitor. A sound card handles all the audio. A network interface card, or NIC, gives you that port to plug in an internet cable. You just pop these cards into special slots on the motherboard and boom, new capabilities.
And speaking of adding things, here's a wild fact for you. You know that little USB port we all use for everything? A single one of those ports can technically support up to 127 different devices at once, if you use enough hubs, of course. That is some crazy expansion right there. All right, this is it. The moment of truth. We've got all the pieces in the case. The brain is connected to the memory, the storage is hooked up, the power supply is ready to go. Everything is in place. But the big question remains, will it actually work? There's only one way to find out.
It's time to hit that power button for the very first time. Let's see if our build is a triumph or a dud. So when you hit that button, the very first thing that happens isn't what you see on screen. It's something called the POST, the Power on Self-Test. It's like the computer taking a deep breath and checking in with itself. It quickly asks, okay, is my brain online? Is my memory working? Are all my vital organs here and ready to go?
And success. The computer finishes its self-check. Everything reports back A-OK. That little beep you sometimes hear, that's the sound of victory. It means our core hardware is working. Our computer is officially alive.
Whew, the hard part is done. All the internal stuff is built. Now for the easy part, connecting it to the outside world so we can actually use it. This is when we plug in the monitor, keyboard, mouse, speakers, all the peripherals that let us interact with this powerful new machine we just built.
And there you have it. We went from a box of individual parts to a fully working computer. That magic box isn't so magical anymore, is it? It's a system of components all working together. And knowing what those parts are does more than just satisfy your curiosity. It really empowers you. You now know what's actually happening inside the tech you use every day. So we just built a PC with the kind of parts you'd find today. But we all know technology moves at lightning speed. All these components are constantly getting smaller, way more powerful, and more efficient. So it leaves you with a pretty cool question to think about. What will the inside of a computer even look like in 20 years? Will it still be a box full of parts, or something else entirely?